everybody. Today I'm going to be finally taking the plunge and sticking some of these buildings down. So I'm going to start with the Nissan huts. Originally I got one extra to use, but I want some space for some duct boards, so I'm going to leave one of them out. I'm going to glue them down with super glue, as I normally do for building, because some of them are resin and heavy. And then I'm going to use PVA around the outside. That's because it gives it so much more strength, and the board will of course need to become vertical to get it in and out my home, into the car, and if I take it anywhere. So it's important to have that strength, and that worked well. The same method with the Thomas layout when I was able to transport it 25 miles and nothing fell off, which is what I want. The drawback is it will leave a slightly glossy look around the outside of the building, so I'm going to have to put some more mud over the top, but that's no big deal. Each one of these is going to have a yellow bulb in to give it the electric light look that they had in the day. My next job was to make some more bricks. You've probably seen that I've already got two lots of different things, rubble, but I've got a lot of damaged buildings, so I decided to go for a cheaper version, which is to use this card, paint it the right colour, and then the laborious job of cutting out 1,000 bricks, I think it was. I can't remember how many, but it felt like 1,000. So next was my stretcher carts. These were adapted narrow gauge kind of little flatbed carts, wagons that had homemade frames put on them. I've seen 3 different style frames, but they roughly carried 4 or 5 potentially patients on them. They were either pushed by soldiers or horse drawn, and so I wanted to make one of each using some I'd already got. I've made some odd looking shapes which are actually floorboards for my ruined houses, which I put rubble on top of anyway and probably mud, but I wanted some wood at the base of them. And then I fit into the houses, and I've also gone on to make some fireplaces, because the soldiers, there would have been a fireplace there even if the house had no roof on it, and the soldiers would have done their best to keep warm, and that's how they would have done it. So they're flickering bulbs that will be powered from beneath with the other bulbs, and of course one of them, all of them actually have had to extra damage as if they've been involved in the houses being blown up and whatever. So I decided I really ought to do some work with a couple of these buildings, and for the most destroyed building, which is this Airfix World War II building I'm using, soldiers would have used available materials to try and make a bit better shelter. So in this case, sheets of corrugated iron. So I thought I'd do that, add to it, and then whack a fireplace in there. Later on you'll see there's some tiles missing, and I thought, well, should I put more corrugated iron over the top? I thought it'd be quite nice, because when you've seen destroyed villages in northern France from World War I, you see loads and loads of the terracotta tiles around, so there would have been some lying around, even if larger ones or smaller ones, to make up that bit of difference. So I thought I'd just create some larger ones than we used before and turn that into the houses. And then what I started to do was put some more kind of smoke battle damage into the other houses, and then start to light them up. And this is the houses now, with some of them showing what the fires will look like when they're on the board. The floorboards aren't fixed in yet, but just gives you an idea of what the lighting effect could be. And now the holes are all drilled, and this will be their final locations, either side of a little road. You can't see the little road too well yet, but you will do when I put some more stuff on it. And I'll use super glue and PVA as I did with the Nissan huts and Thomas board. This is a nice little flickering burning wood pile I got, which I put beside one of the tracks. I've added some more wood to it, so that's got to be painted yet, but the flickering effect does look quite nice. It's just another feature to look at. I've got a couple of braziers to add and a campfire for where most of the tents are behind the church, but I've got to do a bit of soldering with that, so I've been putting it off a bit because it's not my thing. But lastly, I know some of you do play Train Simulator, and I managed to find a reskinned Robinson 04 rod. So here's a couple of images from my little travels around, I think the Western Isles this was, and later I'll find a skin for an ambulance train, so I'll start to recreate the Bachmann ambulance train, but there's only one coach on it at the moment.